You erased me, Dan. Even told people I had dementia, all because I said no. Once. Have you ever sacrificed everything for your child, only to be cast as the villain in their life? I raised my son alone after his father walked out. I worked double shifts, missed birthdays, scraped together college funds. Everything I had was for him. But when I refused to give him $5,000, he vanished for 15 years. Then I found out he told my grandson I was too sick to visit. That's when I knew. This wasn't just silence, it was erasure. I'm Ellie. I've lived through abandonment, betrayal, and a son who rewrote our history. But I'm still here. If you've ever felt invisible to the very people you love, keep watching. You'll see how I reclaimed my dignity, protected my grandson, and exposed my son's lies without yelling or begging. The day I found a fake school application to move my grandson to Canada, I realized my son was planning to flee with my money. What he didn't know, I had just won $128 million and hired a private investigator. If you've ever been cut off by family, don't scroll. You're not alone. And this might be the moment you realize it's not too late to take your story back. Before I share the rest, tell me something. Where are you listening from tonight? Maybe you're on your couch, like I used to be, with a mug of something warm. Drop a comment below and let me know. Just a word or two. I promise I'll read everyone. Your voice matters here. Let's begin together. Rain drums my Portland apartment. My 65th birthday feels like a forgotten promise. I sit at my chipped Formica table, clutching a mug of farmer's market coffee, its bitter steam curling like a ghost. The clock ticks past 8 on March 15, 2024, in my cramped Portland, Oregon apartment. Rain taps the windows, a steady rhythm that mirrors the ache in my chest. A single birthday card from the church leans against a faded photo of my son, Dan, taken 15 years ago when he was 25. His grin, bright as summer sun, stares back from the frame. Now he's a stranger who hasn't called in a decade and a half. My fingers tremble as I trace his face through the glass. Have I ever been enough? I whisper, my voice lost in the rain's patter. The photo drags me back to those grueling years after James, my ex-husband, walked out. Dan was 10, Sophie 6. I worked double shifts as a nurse, my bones screaming, to pay for Dan's soccer cleats, Sophie's ballet lessons, their college funds. Every extra hour was for them, but Dan saw my absence, not my sacrifice. He called my caution control, my budgeting stinginess. The final blow came in 2009. Dan, 24, stormed into my kitchen, eyes blazing. MedTech Solutions is a sure thing, Mom. I need $5,000. I refused, citing our emergency fund, my voice steady despite his glare. You're always controlling. You don't trust me, he snarled, slamming the door. That was the last I heard from him. The memory stings, sharp as a needle, and I set the mug down. It clinks against the table, loud in the quiet. Today, Dan turns 40. We share this birthday, a bond that once meant late-night cake and laughter. Now it's just me, the rain, and this empty room. I can't face another year of silence, mourning a son who erased me. I shuffle to my closet, pulling out a blue wool scarf I knitted for Dan. It stitches tight with hope. My hands shake as I fold it into a gift bag. Maybe he'll see it. Remember the boy who'd crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, needing my goodnight kiss. Maybe he'll let me in. I grab my keys, heart pounding, and head to my old Honda. The engine hums to life, rain blurring the windshield as I drive north to Seattle. A flicker of hope battles the ache inside me. I'm not just a mother who failed. I'm a mother who'll fight. As I merge onto I-5, a crumpled paper slips from the glove box, landing on the passenger seat. I glance at it. A flyer for MedTech Solutions, bold letters shouting revolutionary tech. My breath catches, a jolt like missing a step. Why is this still here? Did Dan's dream crash, like his other schemes? The rain drums harder, matching my pulse. I tuck the flyer into my purse, its edges worn, feeling like a clue to the son I lost. Portland's gray skyline fades in my rearview mirror. I grip the wheel, ready to face whatever waits at Dan's door, the scarf warm against my thigh, a fragile thread to a past I can't let go. Seattle's jazz hums from Dan's glowing house. I'm a stranger at my son's door. The waterfront sparkles below, Seattle's lights dancing on Puget Sound. But my heart feels like it's drowning. Dan's upscale 2-story home pulses with life. Grilled chicken wafts from the backyard. Laughter weaves through the open windows. I clutch the blue scarf I knitted for him, its wool scratching my palms, a fragile hope carried from Portland. The MedTech flyer in my purse weighs heavy, a hint of secrets I don't yet understand. I smooth my worn coat, take a shaky breath, and press the doorbell. Its chime cuts through the jazz, sharp as a knife. The door swings open and there's Dan, 40 today, his face chiseled and cold in the porch light, his eyes narrow, a flash of recognition turning to ice. "Why are you here, Mom?" he snaps, voice low but biting. The jazz fades, replaced by a hush from inside. Guests peer over wine glasses, their stares pricking my skin. I swallow, holding out the gift bag. "Happy birthday, Dan. I just wanted—" He cuts me off, stepping forward, his broad frame filling the doorway. "This isn't a good time." His tone is final, like a gavel. My chest tightens, but I force a smile, the scarf trembling in my hands. Lauren, his wife, appears beside him, her sleek dress gleaming under the chandelier. Her gaze flicks over my faded coat, a smirk curling her lips. She leans against Dan, possessive, her perfume sharp and expensive. "Today's about family, Ellie," she says, her voice dripping with pity. The word family lands like a slap. Before I can speak, a boy darts through the living room behind them, tall, lanky, with Dan's dark eyes. My breath catches. Liam, my grandson, who doesn't know I exist. He pauses, curious, clutching a soda can, but Dan's glare sends him scampering. "You're not welcome," Dan says, his hand on the door. "I thought I made that clear." The door swings shut, its slam echoing like a gunshot. I stand frozen, the gift bag slipping in my grip. Jazz swells again, laughter bubbling from inside, as if I was never here. I sink onto the porch step, rain misting my face, tears hot against my cheeks. My fingers dig into the bag, the scarf now a useless dream. Was I ever his mother? I gave him everything, nights without sleep, years without rest, and he erased me. But Liam's face, that fleeting glance, sparks something fierce inside me. I won't let Dan steal him too. I fumble in my purse for a tissue, and my hand brushes a stiff edge. I pull it out. A birthday card sent to Dan years ago, its envelope torn open. "Happy 30th, love, Mom," it reads, returned unopened, now creased and faded. My fingers trace its jagged tear, a cut that mirrors my heart. How long has Dan been shutting me out? I stand, wiping my eyes, the card clutched tight. I vow to fight for Liam, for the family Dan denies me. The rain blurs Seattle's lights as I walk to my car, resolve hardening with each step. Dan's voice slices through the crowd. "You never cared," he shouts, and I'm exposed. I sit in the Portland Library, the memory of his words searing my mind like a fresh burn. The cozy stacks of books around me smell of old paper, their quiet a stark contrast to the chaos of Dan's Seattle party. My fingers clutch the torn birthday card from my purse, its jagged edges a reminder of his cruelty. That card, sent years ago, returned unopened, ties to a deeper wound I can't yet name. I rub my thumb over its crease, my chest tight with hurt, as Marcia slides into the chair across from me, her coffee mug clinking softly. I spill the story of Seattle, my voice low, the rain pattering outside. My mind flashes back to Dan's party, the air thick with apple pie and jazz. I'd stepped inside, scarf in hand, hoping for a moment with him, but Dan's face twisted when he saw me. "You never cared, just controlled us," he bellowed, his voice carrying over the crowd. Guests whispered, their eyes darting like needles. Lauren smirked, sipping wine, while Liam vanished into the house. My cheeks burned, my hands shaking as I fled, the scarf left behind. I blink back tears. The library's hush pulling me to the present. Marcia's eyes narrow, her wit sharp. He's got no right, Ellie. I know that sting. My daughter cut me off for years. Her own estrangement fuels her fire. Write him the truth, no holding back, she urges, her voice a lifeline. I nod, my hurt hardening into anger. At home that night, I sit at my kitchen table, pen trembling. I write to Dan, confessing my fears of losing him, my love for Liam, the grandson I've never met. I work those shifts for you, I scrawl, not to control, but to give you everything. The words pour out, raw and heavy, until dawn creeps through my window. I mail the letter, hope flickering like a candle. You ever pour your heart into a letter? Every fear, every bit of love, hoping it might finally break through. What would you expect to get back? If you're still here, drop a 5 in the comments. Because what came next still stings like the day I opened that envelope. Days later, a manila envelope arrives. My heart leaps, then sinks. Inside, my letter lies in pieces, torn like confetti, with a note in Dan's scrawl, "Stop trying." My breath catches, anger flaring hot. I grab my phone, needing Marcia's voice, but a notification stops me cold. It's Dan's email to Lauren, left open on his phone at the party, now forwarded to me by mistake. "We'll fix finances soon." My pulse races, the library's hush fading to a roar in my ears. Dan's not just cruel, he's desperate. I clench the torn letter, vowing to uncover what he's hiding. Did I raise him, or did he erase me? A $2 ticket burns in my purse. Can it mend a broken family? I stand in a Portland corner store, the fluorescent lights harsh against my face, the air buzzing with lottery chatter. It's been days since Dan's email to Lauren about fixing finances lit up his phone. Its words a shadow I can't shake. I clutch my purse, the torn letters pieces still tucked inside, each jagged edge fueling my anger. I'm here for milk, but the clerk's grin. Jackpot's $220 million, it stops me. On a whim, I hand over $2, the ticket's numbers stark against its white slip. Money can't fix Dan, I muse, but the thought lingers as I head to a coffee shop to meet Marcia. The shop hums with book club laughter, the scent of espresso grounding me. Marcia slides into the booth, her eyes sharp. "Dan's climbing the ladder at Bright Path Industries," she says, sipping her latte. "But MedTech, bankrupt years ago." Her words sting, the MedTech flyer in my purse a silent accusation. Dan's dreams always burned bright, then crashed, leaving me to pick up the pieces, his college, his debts. Marcia, her voice softened by her own estrangement, leans in. "He's in deep, Ellie. Stay sharp." Her caution, born of losing her daughter to pride, steadies me. I nod, my anger at Dan's torn letter softening, but the ticket in my purse feels like a secret I don't yet understand. That night, the TV blares in my apartment, the news anchor's voice slicing through my thoughts. "Powerball winner in Portland? $220 million." My fork clatters to the plate, chicken pot pie forgotten. I fumble for the ticket, my hands trembling as I match the numbers. 7, 14, 23, 36, 42, Powerball 19. My heart thunders, the room spinning. Days later, I sit in an attorney's office, its polished wood gleaming under soft lights. "You'll net $128 million after taxes," he says, his pen scratching. I set up the Harper Trust, claiming anonymity, and buy a modest 3-bedroom home in a quiet Portland neighborhood, citing a family property sale to friends. "Family will crawl out of the woodwork," he warns, his tone neutral but kind. I nod, numb, the weight of wealth settling like a stone. Can money buy a son's love? Back at the coffee shop, I sip a fresh latte, Marcia's caution echoing. I vow to stay discreet, to use this power wisely. My phone buzzes, a notification stealing my breath. It's Dan's email. "Heard you moved. Can we talk?" My pulse quickens, fingers hovering over the screen. How does he know? The steam from my coffee fades, and I see Seattle's skyline in my mind, Dan's shadow looming larger. I clench my jaw, anger giving way to cautious resolve. I'm no longer the mother he erased. I'm a woman with power, ready to face whatever he's planning. Dan's smile is a mask. Liam's words slice through my heart. I sit at a window table in Seattle's Harbor View restaurant, the steam from clam chowder curling like my unease. Waves lap against Ellie at bay, their rhythm clashing with the twinkling skyline and the jazz drifting from speakers. Dan's email, "Heard you moved, can we talk?" burns in my mind, a signal of greed I can't ignore. My new Volvo parked outside feels like a target, its shine a beacon for Dan's schemes. I smooth my sweater, fingers brushing the lottery ticket in my purse. It's 128 million secret locked tight in the Harper Trust. I'm here to meet Dan, Lauren, and Liam, my grandson. But my gut twists with wariness. Dan strides in, his suit crisp, his smile too wide. Lauren follows, her heels clicking, her eyes scanning my outfit before lingering on the Volvo through the window. Liam trails behind, lanky and shy, clutching a phone, his dark eyes, so like Dan's, darting to me. Dan slides into the booth, leaning close. "Nice Volvo, Mom. That family property must have paid well." His voice is smooth, probing, and I stiffen, deflecting with a nod. Lauren smirks, sipping wine, her diamond earrings glinting. "New car, new house, big changes, Ellie," she says, her tone sharp with envy. I focus on Liam, offering a smile. "You must be Liam. I'm your grandma." He blushes, mumbling, "Hi," and my heart aches for the years Dan stole from us. The waiter sets down chowder bowls, steam rising. Dan keeps probing. "How's the new place?" But I turn to Liam, asking about school. His face lights up, talking about science fairs, and I share a story from my nursing days, saving a patient with a quick call. Liam leans in, eyes wide. "That's so cool, Grandma." Then softly he adds, "Dad said you had a brain disease. Is that why you never came?" My spoon clatters against the bowl, the jazz fading to a roar in my ears. Dan freezes, his smile faltering. Lauren coughs, glaring at Liam. I force a steady voice saying, "I'm healthy, Liam. Just been far away." Liam nods, unsure, and whispers, "You're cooler than Dad says." The bill arrives, and Dan pats his pockets, grinning. "Forgot my wallet. Mind covering, Mom?" His gold watch gleams, mocking me. I pay, jaw tight, anger flaring at his lie. Outside, Liam lingers as Dan and Lauren argue by their car. He slips me his number, his fingers quick on my phone. Back in my Volvo, a text pings. "Dad said you were too sick to visit." My breath catches, fury spiking. Dan didn't just cut me off. He erased me with a lie about dementia. I scroll my phone, needing Marcia's voice, and find a news article. Brightpath Industries faces ethics probe. VP Dan Harper named. My heart pounds. The waves crash, fading to a storm inside me. Dan's not just greedy. He's in trouble. How deep does his deceit go? James's letter trembles in my hands. Why return now after decades? I stand in my new Portland home, the cozy living room lit by a single lamp, a vinyl record spinning slow jazz on the turntable. The Brightpath article naming Dan in an ethics probe sits heavy on my mind, a dark cloud over the hope sparked by Liam's text. Dan's lie about my dementia burns, a betrayal that cuts deeper than his silence. I clutch my phone, Liam's words. "You're cooler than Dad says, Grandma," a lifeline amidst the storm. The jazz weaves through the air, its notes soft but haunting, like the past I can't escape. Earlier today, I met Sophie at a coffee shop, the hum of book club chatter wrapping around us like a warm blanket. Sophie, my daughter, 35 now, sat across from me, her eyes red-rimmed. "I should have seen your strength, Mom," she said, her voice breaking. She apologized for siding with Dan, for believing I was absent because I didn't care. "You missed my 16th birthday for a double shift," she whispered, tears spilling. "I thought you chose work over me." I reached for her hand, my own trembling. Every shift was for you and Dan, I said, my throat tight. I gave up nursing school dreams to keep us afloat. Sophie squeezed my hand, her guilt raw but her support fierce. We laughed over old memories, her ballet recitals, my late-night cookies, and I felt a crack in the wall between us mend. The coffee's warmth lingered on my lips, grounding me as I drove home, hope flickering. In my living room, I rummaged through a box of old papers, searching for answers about Dan. My fingers brush a yellowed envelope addressed to me in James's scrawl. My breath catches, the jazz faltering as if it senses my shock. I tear it open, the paper crinkling. "Ellie, I left because I failed," James wrote. "My business collapsed, and I was too ashamed to face you. It wasn't you, it was me." My knees buckle, and I sink onto the couch. James, who left when Dan was 10, wasn't running from me but from his own shame. The doorbell chimes, and there he is, 67, gray hair thinning, eyes hesitant. "We were young, Ellie, but I failed you," he says, his voice low. I nod, wary but softening, the letter heavy in my hand. "Why now, James?" I ask, my voice steady despite the ache. He looks down, hands fidgeting. "I heard about your move. I want to make things right." The jazz swells, a fragile bridge to a past I thought was lost. Marcia calls as James leaves, her voice sharp through the phone. "Dan's trouble runs deep, Ellie. My daughter shut me out for years. I know the signs." Her estrangement fuels her urgency, and she suggests hiring Victor Nguyen, a private investigator. "He's discreet, helped me once," she says. I agree, my anger at Dan's lie mixing with vulnerability from Sophie and James. Hours later, Victor's email pings, a file attached. I open it, my heart racing. Dan's maxed credit cards, a second mortgage, a Vancouver school application for Liam. Dan's planning to flee, using my wealth. The vinyl's jazz fades to a crackle, my gaze turning steely. I'm done being erased. Can the past heal or just hurt? Dan's secrets are unraveling, and I'm ready to confront them. Dan's hand crushes my past. His lies burn hotter than ever. I stand in the gym of Seattle Prep School, the air thick with the buzz of a pep rally. Banners flutter above, their bright colors clashing with the drizzle misting through an open door. The Vancouver file from Victor, detailing Dan's debts, and a school application for Liam weighs heavy in my purse, a desperate plan I can't unsee. My fingers grip a photo album I brought for Liam, filled with unsent gifts. Sketches, cards, a tiny model rocket, each a piece of my heart. I'm here for Liam's history presentation, invited by his text, but Dan's dementia lie, exposed by Liam at Harborview, fuels my anger. The gym's chatter fades as I scan the crowd, my resolve hardening. Liam waves from the stage, his grin bright, and I smile back, clutching the album. Greg Patel, his teacher, approaches, his face apologetic. "Mrs. Harper, Liam's thrilled you're here," he says, then hesitates. "Dan told us you had dementia, couldn't handle visits." My breath catches, the banners blurring. "I'm healthy, Greg," I say, voice tight. "Dan lied." Greg's eyes widen, guilt flickering. "I'm sorry, I didn't know." Before I can respond, Dan strides in, his suit rumpled, eyes darting. Liam's presentation begins, weaving stories of immigration I shared via text, but Dan's presence pulls my focus. As Liam finishes to applause, I slip into the hallway, album in hand, ready to confront Dan. If your own child tore up years of love, would you walk away or fight harder? What happened next? It shattered more than just pages. If you've ever felt erased by someone you love, drop a 6 in the comments. We're heading into the part that still makes my hands shake. Dan follows, his jaw set. "You erased me, Dan," I say, my voice shaking with fury. "Telling everyone I'm sick?" His eyes narrow and he snatches the album from my hands. "You don't get how the world works now, Mom," he shouts, ripping the cover and tossing it into a trash bin. Pages scatter, Liam's rocket sketch, a birthday card, my heart tearing with them. He pushes me, his hand hard against my shoulder, and I stumble, catching the wall. "Stay out of our lives!" Liam appears, his face pale, eyes wide with horror. Dan freezes, then storms off. I sink to the floor, album pages at my feet, anger peaking. Did I lose him, or did he lose me? My phone buzzes, Marcia's text lighting the screen. "You're stronger than his lies." Her words, shaped by her own estrangement, steady me. I gather the torn pages, my hands trembling, and notice Liam's backpack left open. Inside, a diary peeks out, its pages marked with his neat scrawl. I flip to the latest entry. Dad keeps talking about Canada. Why? My pulse races, the drizzle outside fading to a burning determination. Dan's not just lying, he's planning to run. I tuck the diary back, vowing to protect Liam. The gym's cheers echo, but I'm already plotting my next move. Victor's folder holds Dan's secrets. I'm ready to strike back. I sit in my Portland home, the cozy living room glowing with lamplight, a half-eaten slice of homemade apple pie cooling on the table. Liam's diary, with its chilling note about Dad's Canada talk, sits beside Victor's file, both screaming, Dan's betrayal. My fingers trace the folder's edge, the weight of my $128 million lottery win, hidden in the Harper Trust, giving me power I never had. Dan's dementia lie, his destruction of Liam's album, and his push at Seattle prep fuel my anger. But I'm no longer the mother he erased. I'm strategic, ready to protect Liam and reclaim my worth. Yesterday, I met Victor Nguyen at Marcia's office, its walls adorned with local art, the air sharp with food cart taco scents drifting through the window. Victor, his eyes kind but focused, slid the folder across the desk. "Dan's drowning," he said. "Maxed credit cards, a second mortgage, a Vancouver school application for Liam." My breath caught. The papers detailing Dan's plan to flee with my wealth. "Brightpath's fraud runs deep," Victor added. "Dan signed off on false marketing claims." Sophie, sitting beside me, gripped my hand, her face pale. "He scammed me too, Mom," she admitted, voice low. "Borrowed my savings for a sure thing, never paid it back." Her guilt over missing my sacrifices, my absence at her 16th birthday for work, drove her vow. "I should have seen your strength sooner. I'm with you now." Victor nodded, his empathy clear. "You're not alone, Ellie." I left with the folder, anger shifting to resolve, Marcia's tactical mind already planning our next move. This morning, I drove to Seattle, testing Dan at his Brightpath office. The sleek lobby gleamed, but Dan's face soured when he saw me. "What now, Mom?" he snapped, leaning back in his chair. I mentioned Liam's presentation, probing his reaction. His eyes darted and he stood, voice rising. "You're nothing but a bank now," he yelled, his hand shoving me toward the door. I stumbled, catching the frame, my heart racing but unshaken. "I'm adjusting my will for Liam," I said calmly, baiting him. "Come to Portland this weekend to discuss it." His jaw tightened, greed flickering. "We'll be there," he muttered, pushing me out. The door slammed, echoing his rage, but I smiled, knowing I'd set the trap. Back in Portland, I meet Marcia at her office, the taco scent now faint. Her lawyer, a brisk woman with gray hair, outlines grandparent rights. "Washington's tough, but Dan's lies give you leverage," she says, papers shuffling. Marcia, her own estrangement fueling her fire, squeezes my arm. "You're unstoppable, Ellie." James joins us, his presence steady. "I failed you, Ellie," he says, his voice low, regret for his business-driven departure raw. "But I'm here now." I nod, his support anchoring me. As we leave, my phone buzzes, a voicemail from Dan to Lauren, accidentally sent to me. "She's our ticket out, don't mess this up." The words crackle, my resolve hardening. The taco scent fades, replaced by the steely focus in my grip on the evidence folder. I'm ready to confront Dan, to save Liam. Can I save Liam without losing myself? Dan's greed blinds him. My folder holds his undoing. I stand in my Portland dining room, candles flickering on the oak table, casting shadows that dance like my racing thoughts. The scent of s'mores wafts from the backyard fire pit, a cozy contrast to the tension coiling inside me. Dan's voicemail, she's our ticket out, crackles in my memory, confirming his plan to exploit my $128 million lottery win, hidden in the Harper Trust. Victor's folder, packed with evidence of Dan's debts, Vancouver school application, and Bright Path fraud, rests under my hand, its weight a promise of justice. I'm no longer the mother Dan erased with his dementia lie. I'm calculated, resolute, ready to protect Liam and reclaim my place. The doorbell chimes, and Dan, Lauren, and Liam step inside, the candlelight catching Dan's smirk. "Nice upgrade, Mom," he says, eyeing my modest home, his voice dripping with greed. Lauren, her silk scarf gleaming, catalogues the room, her status-driven gaze honed by her impoverished youth. Liam, clutching a science book, offers a shy smile, his loyalty a beacon in the storm. We sit, the table set with my homemade lasagna, but the warmth fades as Dan probes. "That property sale must have been a gold mine," he says, fork poised. Liam starts to share his science fair idea, but Lauren snaps, "Not now, Liam," her voice sharp. I clench my napkin, anger simmering, and meet Dan's gaze. "Why'd you tell Liam I was sick, Dan?" I ask, voice steady. He leans back, sneering. "You were too weak to handle us, Mom. I did you a favor." His dismissal of my sacrifices, double shifts, college tuition, cuts deep, my resolve hardening. After dinner, Liam lingers as Dan and Lauren step outside to talk. The backyard fire pit crackles, s'mores toasting, but Liam's face is pale. He pulls a glossy brochure from his backpack, his fingers trembling. "I found this in Dad's briefcase," he whispers, handing me a Vancouver school pamphlet. "I don't want to leave, Grandma." My heart breaks, his voice echoing the boy who loves my nursing stories. I hug him, the brochure crinkling against my chest. "You won't lose me, Liam," I say, my voice fierce. His eyes shine with trust, and I tuck the brochure into my purse, its confirmation of Dan's escape plan fueling my fire. I'm not just fighting for me, I'm fighting for him. The fire pit's glow fades as Liam rejoins his parents, my hand resting on Victor's folder. Marcia calls as I clear the table, her voice a lifeline through the phone. "The lawyer's ready, Ellie," she says, her own estrangement sharpening her tone. "Dan's lies give you leverage." I nod, candles flickering, their light steadying me. Dan and Lauren return, their whispers halting. I place the folder on the table, its thud heavy in the quiet. Dan's eyes narrow, Lauren's hand freezes mid-gesture. Liam watches, anxious, his science book clutched tight. My voice is calm, but inside, I'm a storm. "We need to talk," I say, fingers brushing the folder's edge. Did he think he could erase me forever? The s'mores warmth is gone, replaced by the folder's cold weight, my resolve unbreakable. I'm ready to expose Dan, to end his lies. Dan's lies shatter like glass. My voice cuts through his deceit. I stand in my Portland living room, the family quilt draped over the sofa, its faded patches grounding the storm brewing inside me. Rain taps the windows, each drop amplifying the tension as Dan, Lauren, and Liam sit across from me. The evidence folder from Victor Nguyen, heavy with Dan's secrets, his dementia lie, debts, Vancouver plans, Bright Path fraud, rests on the coffee table, its edges worn from my grip. The candlelight flickers, casting Dan's face in sharp relief, his smirk gone. Liam's eyes dart between us, clutching his science book, while Lauren's fingers tighten on her wine glass. I'm not the mother Dan erased anymore. I'm resolute, empowered, ready to protect Liam and reclaim my worth. I open the folder, papers rustling like whispers of truth. "Dan, you told everyone I had dementia," I say, my voice steady. "You lied to Liam, to his school, to keep me out." Dan's jaw clenches, his eyes flashing. "You're a burden, Mom!" he shouts, leaning forward, his voice slicing through the room. "Spying on us with your detective!" Liam gasps. Why, Dad? His voice small, heartbroken. My chest tightens, but I push on, flipping pages. Debts, Dan, a second mortgage, a Vancouver school application to flee with my money, and BrightPath, your signature on fraudulent ads. Lauren's glass trembles, her face paling. Dan's fists ball, his entitlement, born from my years of paying his tuition, his sports, crumbling under the weight of exposure. Lauren stands, her silk scarf slipping. This is blackmail, Ellie, she snaps, her status-driven glare faltering. Sophie's face appears on my phone via video call, her eyes fierce. Mom's strength is our truth, she says, her guilt over missing my sacrifices fueling her support. James, sitting beside me, nods, his hand steady on mine. You're not alone, Ellie, he says, his regret for leaving me to chase his failed business raw in his voice. I slide a recorder from the folder, pressing play. Dan's voice crackles. The ad stats are fudged, but it'll sell. Liam's eyes widen, his science book slipping. Dan freezes, face draining. That's out of context, he stammers, but the lie hangs heavy, undeniable. My resolve peaks, a fire I've never felt before. I'm taking control. I lean forward, rain slowing to a drip outside, mirroring my calm. I'll pay your mortgage and Liam's education, I say. But there are conditions. You stay in Seattle. Liam visits me monthly. We all do family therapy. And you face BrightPath's investigation, Dan. Liam nods, his voice soft but firm. I want this, Grandma. Lauren's eyes flick to the folder, her poverty-driven pragmatism weighing survival. Dan glares, silent, his pride battling necessity. James squeezes my hand, Sophie's image steady on the screen. Did I reclaim my place or forge a new one? The quilt's warmth anchors me, but the rain's faint drip warns of Dan's next move. I've exposed him, but will he bend? Dan's nod is cold, but my heart burns free. The past can't hold me. I stand in my Portland backyard, the fire pit's cedar smoke curling under a starlit sky. Its crackle a hymn of release. Dan's glare from last night's confrontation, grudgingly accepting my terms, lingers like a shadow. But the evidence folder, exposing his dementia lie, debts, Vancouver plans, and BrightPath fraud, has shifted the ground beneath him. Crickets hum softly, their song weaving through the cool air as I watch the flames dance. My $128 million lottery win, hidden in the Harper Trust, gave me power. But this moment, setting boundaries, is my true liberation. I'm not the mother Dan erased. I'm redefining family on my terms. Earlier today, in my living room, Dan sat rigid, his suit creased. Fine, we'll stay, he mumbled, agreeing to my conditions. Remain in Seattle, Liam's monthly visits, family therapy, facing BrightPath's investigation. His entitlement, fed by my years of paying his way, seemed to crumble, replaced by financial necessity. Lauren, her silk scarf knotted tight, pored over the financial details, her poverty-driven pragmatism surfacing. The mortgage payment clears our debt, she said, her voice flat but calculating. I nodded, my resolve firm, watching Liam clutch his science book, his eyes hopeful. The quilt on the sofa, stitched by my mother, grounded us, but Dan's cold nod warned of tension yet to come. Now, in the backyard, I hold a telescope, its metal cool in my hands, a gift for Liam. He stands beside me, his lanky frame silhouetted against the firelight. See the stars, Liam, like my nursing stories, I say, handing it to him. His grin lights up, brighter than the flames. This is awesome, Grandma. James, leaning against the patio rail, smiles softly. You've always been strong, Ellie, he says, his regret for leaving me to chase his failed business softening his voice. I meet his gaze, grateful for his support. No more handouts, Dan, I say, turning to him. The mortgage and Liam's education are my limit. Dan's jaw tightens, but Lauren's quick nod signals compliance, her survival instinct overriding pride. The telescope clanks as Liam adjusts it, a symbol of our bond, untainted by Dan's greed. I pull a wooden box from the patio table, its lid etched with my initials. Inside lie unsent letters and gifts for Liam. Cards, a knitted cap, a model rocket, each a piece of my heart from 15 years of silence. I kneel by the fire pit, feeding the papers to the flames, their edges curling black. The cedar smoke stings my eyes, but I feel lighter with each burn, letting go of pain. Liam steps close, his voice soft. "I'll see you soon, Grandma," he whispers, hugging me. I hold him tight, the fire's warmth mirroring my resolve. Can fire clear a path for a new start? As Dan and Lauren head inside, my phone pings with Liam's text, "Dad's mad about therapy." I glance at the fading flames, knowing the road ahead won't be smooth, but I'm free to face it. Seattle's sun warms my face. We're not perfect, but we're here together. I stand in Dan's backyard, the sizzle of the barbecue filling the air with the smoky promise of summer. Graduation caps toss high, catching the golden light, while laughter weaves through the breeze like a familiar song. Liam's telescope, my gift from that firelit night in Portland, gleams in his hands, a beacon of hope that carried us through the storm of Dan's lies. The scent of grilled burgers and fresh lemonade wraps around us, grounding this moment. A triple celebration, my 67th birthday, Dan's 42nd, and Liam's middle school graduation. My $128 million lottery win, still tucked safely in the Harper Trust, gave me power. But it's persistence, not money, that rebuilt this family. I'm content, my heart brimming with maternal love. My worth no longer a question, but a quiet truth. The backyard pulses with life, a scene I once thought impossible after 15 years of Dan's silence, his dementia lie, and his cruel rejection at his Seattle party. I glance at the picnic tables, covered in red checkered cloths, where neighbors and family mingle. Children dart between adults, their giggles rising above the hum of conversation. Dan stands by the grill, flipping burgers, his apron smudged with sauce. He's different now, demoted at Bright Path, but honest, his entitlement softened by 18 months of therapy. Those sessions were grueling, peeling back layers of pain. Dan's resentment over my control, my own tight grip born of fear after James left, Lauren's insecurities rooted in her childhood poverty. Dan catches my eye, offering a small nod, not warm, but real. I return it, a silent acknowledgement of the fragile bridge we've built. Lauren, in a casual sweater instead of her usual silk scarves, tends to a tray of coleslaw, her movements brisk but softened. She's no longer the calculating woman who smirked at my worn coat 2 years ago. Therapy forced her to face her role in Dan's schemes, her status-driven complicity, her dismissal of Liam's needs. She's cooperative now, her poverty-driven pragmatism channeled into rebuilding their life in Seattle. She glances at me, her lips curving slightly, and I nod back, sensing her quiet acceptance of past mistakes. The barbecue hisses, sending up a plume of smoke, and I breathe in the moment, marveling at how far we've come. Sophie sits beside me on a lawn chair, her hand warm in mine, our rift healed like a scar that's faded but never gone. "I should have seen your strength, Mom," she says, her voice soft, her eyes tracing the crowd. Her guilt over misunderstanding my sacrifices, missing her 16th birthday for my double shifts, has transformed into a bond stronger than I ever hoped. She leans closer, her hair brushing my shoulder, and points to Liam, who's showing off his telescope to a friend. "He's like you, curious, stubborn." I laugh, the sound light, and squeeze her hand. Sophie's journey from siding with Dan to standing by me in that Portland confrontation mirrors my own fight for self-worth. The sun catches her smile, and I feel a warmth deeper than the summer day. James tosses a graduation cap with Liam, his laughter carrying across the yard. "You gave us a second chance, Ellie," he says, jogging over, his gray hair catching the light. His regret for leaving me to chase his failed business, abandoning us when Dan was 10, once weighed heavy, but therapy and his steady presence have renewed our connection. He's not the distant man who knocked on my door 2 years ago, hesitant with shame. He's engaged, his eyes crinkling as he watches Liam. I nod, grateful for his return, a piece of my past reclaimed not through anger, but through time. The cap sails high again, and I smile, the backyard's joy a testament to persistence. Marcia, sipping lemonade under a tree, chats with a neighbor, her laughter warm and free. Her own estrangement from her daughter, resolved off-page, mirrors my journey, and her celebratory presence feels like a full circle. She catches my eye, raising her glass, and I return the gesture, remembering her fierce support, urging me to write that letter, connecting me with Victor, bolstering me through the confrontation. The lemonade sparkles in her hand, a small toast to our shared strength. The barbecue's smoke curls upward, blending with the breeze, and I let the moment settle, content in this imperfect family we've stitched together. Liam bounds over, his graduation cap askew, his grin wide. "Got something for you, Grandma," he says, eyes bright as the stars he loves. He hands me a photo album, its cover embossed with constellations, the weight of it solid in my hands. I open it, pages rustling softly, and my breath catches. Old photos of Dan and Sophie fill the first pages. Dan in his soccer jersey, Sophie in her ballet tutu, moments I captured through exhaustion and love. Newer photos follow, Liam with his telescope, Sophie and me at a coffee shop, James teaching Liam to grill. The final page stops me cold, a photo of my burned letter from that Portland night, its singed edges stark against the white page, captioned in Liam's neat scrawl, "Family, imperfect but ours." My throat tightens, tears pricking my eyes. "Liam, this is..." I trail off, hugging him, his lanky frame solid against me. The album ties past pain to present healing, a micro twist that anchors this moment. I keep one letter from the box I burned, its singed edge a memento of pain turned to strength. I slip it into my purse, its weight light now, a reminder of the journey. Dan's rejection, his lies, the Vancouver scheme, the confrontation that broke his hold. The barbecue hisses, laughter hums, and I reflect, my victory wasn't the lottery, though it gave me leverage. It was persistence, the stubborn love that refused to let go, even when Dan tried to erase me. Did I build a new place for us all? The sun dips low, casting a golden glow over the yard, and I smile, content with the answer. But as the caps toss higher, a flicker of uncertainty stirs. Dan's therapy reluctance, hinted in Liam's text, lingers like a cloud on the horizon. The album's photos promise hope, but families, even imperfect ones, are never finished. I glance at Liam, his telescope aimed at the sky, and wonder what challenges wait beyond this day. The Seattle sun fades behind a bank of clouds, but its warmth lingers on my skin. I sit on a lawn chair in Dan's backyard, the barbecue's embers glowing faintly, the laughter from Liam's graduation party still echoing in my ears. Liam's photo album, captioned, "Family, imperfect but ours," rests in my lap, its final image of my burned letter a reminder of pain turned to strength. My $128 million lottery win, hidden in the Harper Trust, secured our fragile peace. Dan's mortgage paid, Liam's education funded, therapy knitting us together. But as I watch Liam aim his telescope at the dusk sky, a flicker of unease stirs. Dan's text from last night, hinting at therapy reluctance, feels like a crack in our foundation. Have we built something lasting, or is it just a pause before the next storm? The backyard quiets as guests drift away, leaving family and a few neighbors. Dan stacks plates, his movement stiff, his demotion at Bright Path still raw. Lauren wipes down tables, her casual sweater a far cry from her old silk scarves, her cooperation born of necessity. Sophie, beside me, scrolls her phone, planning a coffee date for us tomorrow. "You're glowing, Mom," she says, her smile softening the guilt of our past rift. James, tossing a football with Liam, laughs, his regret for leaving us long buried. Marcia, sipping iced tea, chats with a neighbor, her own healed estrangement a mirror to mine. The scene feels like a snapshot, perfect yet fragile, and I clutch the album tighter, sensing a shift in the air. Liam bounds over, his graduation cap tucked under his arm. "Grandma, check this out," he says, pointing to a star through the telescope. I peer through, the lens sharp, revealing a pinpoint of light. "That's Sirius," he says, his voice bubbling with facts from his science book. I smile, my heart swelling, but my phone buzzes in my pocket, pulling me back. It's a message from an unknown number. "Dan's hiding something. Check Bright Path." My pulse quickens, the telescope's gleam fading. I glance at Dan, who's scrubbing the grill, his face unreadable. The anonymous text, like Victor's file 2 years ago, feels like a warning. I tuck the phone away, not ready to share with Liam, but the unease grows, a shadow over our celebration. Later, in Dan's living room, the quilt from my Portland home drapes the couch, grounding me as we gather. Sophie senses my tension, her brow furrowing. "Everything okay, Mom?" she asks, her voice low. I force a smile, not mentioning the text, and nod. Dan joins us, his apron off, but his eyes avoid mine. Lauren pours coffee, her practicality steady, but I catch a flicker of worry in her glance at Dan. James sits beside me, his hand brushing mine, a silent anchor. Liam, sprawled on the floor, flips through his science book, oblivious. I clear my throat, testing the waters. "Dan, how's therapy going?" I ask, my voice casual but pointed. He stiffens, his jaw tight. "It's fine," he mutters, but the word feels hollow, echoing his text to Liam. Lauren shifts, her coffee mug clinking, and I sense a secret they're guarding. The conversation drifts to Liam's high school plans, but my mind races. The text's mention of Bright Path stirs memories of Dan's fraud, his signature on false ads, exposed in my Portland confrontation. Has he slipped back into old habits? I think of Victor Nguyen, the PI who uncovered Dan's Vancouver scheme, and wonder if I need him again. Sophie, catching my distraction, nudges me. "You're quiet," she says, her eyes searching. I pat her hand, promising to talk later, but the text burns in my pocket. Can a family, even one rebuilt, withstand new lies? The quilt's warmth fades, the rain starting to patter outside, a soft warning of trouble brewing. As we say goodnight, Liam hugs me, his telescope slung over his shoulder. "See you next month, Grandma," he says, his grin bright. I hold him tight, vowing to protect him, no matter what Dan's hiding. Dan and Lauren walk me to my car, their faces tense. "Thanks for everything, Mom," Dan says, but his voice lacks warmth. I nod, climbing into my Volvo, the anonymous text glowing on my phone. The rain streaks my windshield as I drive to my Seattle hotel, the city's lights blurring. I'm not the mother Dan once erased, but the fight for family never ends. What's Dan hiding now? The rain streaks my hotel window, a restless rhythm matching my unease. What's Dan hiding now? I sit on the edge of my Seattle hotel bed, the anonymous text from last night's party glowing on my phone. Dan's hiding something. Check Bright Path. The memory of Liam's album, its caption, "Family Imperfect But Ours," feels fragile, like a promise teetering on the edge. My $128 million lottery win tucked away in the Harper Trust gave me leverage to rebuild our family, but Dan's evasive, "it's fine" about therapy, coupled with this text, stirs doubts. The hotel's coffee pot gurgles, its bitter scent grounding me as I clutch the singed letter from my Portland fire pit, a memento of pain turned to strength. Have I built a new place, only to watch it crack again? Morning light filters through the rain as I drive to a Seattle coffee shop to meet Sophie. The shop buzzes with barista chatter, the scent of fresh pastries weaving through the air. Sophie slides into the booth, her eyes sharp with concern. "You looked off last night, Mom," she says, stirring her latte. I hesitate, then show her the text. Her brow furrows, the guilt of our past rift, my absence at her 16th birthday, still lingering in her protective tone. "Dan's changed, but not completely," she says, voice low. "He borrowed from me again last month, said it was for Liam's school." My stomach twists, the pastry's sweetness turning sour. I think of Victor Nguyen, the PI who uncovered Dan's Vancouver scheme, and know I need him again. Sophie squeezes my hand, her support fierce. Whatever he's doing, we'll face it together, she says, and I nod, resolve flickering like the shop's neon sign. Back at the hotel, I call Victor, his voice calm but warm through the phone. I'll dig into Brightpath, he says, his empathy for my fight clear, shaped by his own quiet family losses. I pace the room, the carpet muffling my steps, and pull out Liam's album, flipping to the photo of my burned letter. Its caption steadies me, but the text's warning gnaws. James knocks, his presence a surprise but welcome. Sophie called me, he says, settling on the couch, his gray eyes soft with regret for his long-ago departure. I'm here, Ellie, like I should have been. He shares a memory of us young, grilling in our old backyard, my laughter brighter than the coals. You carried us then, he says, and you're carrying us now. His support anchors me, but the text's shadow looms. I text Liam, checking in, and he replies, Dad's been on calls all night. Weird. My pulse quickens, the hotel's hum fading to a buzz in my ears. Victor's email arrives by evening, a new file attached. I open it on my laptop, the screen's glow stark in the dim room. It details Brightpath's renewed investigation. Dan, despite his demotion, is linked to a new marketing scam, funneling funds to an offshore account. My hands tremble, the coffee pots gurgle, now a distant drone. Dan's not just reluctant about therapy, he's slipping back into deceit, risking Liam's future. I think of Marcia, her own estrangement teaching me resilience, and call her. He's at it again, I say, my voice steady but tight. Get Liam out of there, she urges, her tone sharp with experience. I nod, the rain outside slowing, but the storm inside me grows. Can trust, once broken, ever hold? Dan's secrets threaten our family, and I'm ready to fight again. The file glows on my laptop screen, a stark accusation I can't ignore. How do I save Liam now? I sit in my Seattle hotel room, the hum of the city muffled by dawn's quiet rain. Victor's evidence, Dan's new Brightpath scam funneling funds offshore, burns in my mind, a betrayal that threatens the family we rebuilt. Liam's album, its caption, Family Imperfect But Ours, sits on the desk. The burned letter photo, a fragile reminder of hope now at risk. My $128 million Harper trust, once a shield, feels powerless against Dan's deceit. The coffee cup in my hand trembles, its bitter steam curling like the doubts twisting my heart. Can I protect Liam without tearing us apart again? I drive to Marcia's Seattle condo, the rain streaking my Volvo's windshield, the wiper's rhythm steadying my nerves. Her living room, warm with local art and the scent of fresh scones, feels like a refuge. Marcia, her eyes sharp from her own healed estrangement, scans Victor's file on her tablet. Dan's playing with fire, she says, her voice low but fierce. You need to get Liam out before this blows up. I nod, my resolve hardening, but my chest aches at the thought of confronting Dan again. Marcia pours tea, the kettle's whistle sharp, and suggests I talk to Liam first. He trusts you, she says, her experience guiding me. I text Liam, asking to meet at his school, my fingers hesitant but firm. At Seattle Prep, the gym's pep rally banners are gone, replaced by quiet hallways smelling of chalk and books. Liam waits by his locker, his backpack slung over one shoulder, his face brightening when he sees me. "Grandma, what's up?" he asks, his voice warm, unaware of the storm. I lead him to a bench, my heart pounding. "Liam, has your dad been different lately?" I ask, choosing my words carefully. His grin fades, eyes dropping to his sneakers. "He's on the phone a lot yelling about work," he says, then hesitates. "I found a bank statement in his office, some weird account in the Cayman Islands." My breath catches, Victor's file flashing in my mind. Liam hands me a crumpled paper from his pocket, its numbers matching the offshore account. The hallway's hum fades, my resolve surging like a tide. I hug Liam, his loyalty, rooted in our shared stories, anchoring me. "You're brave, kid," I say, my voice steady. "I'll handle this, but you stay safe." He nods, clutching his science book, and I promise to keep him close. Driving back, I call Sophie, her voice crackling through the car's speaker. "Dan scamming again?" she asks, her tone sharp, the pain of her own past rift raw. "I'm coming to Seattle," she says, her support fierce. James texts, offering to join, his regret for leaving us fueling his resolve. I pull over, the rain slowing, and call Victor for an update. "Bright path's closing in," he says, his empathy clear. "Dan's account's active, but he's sloppy, traceable." The news is a double-edged sword. Dan's exposed, but Liam's future hangs in the balance. Can I shield him without losing him? Back at the hotel, I pace, the carpet soft under my feet, Liam's bank statement in my hand. I think of my Portland confrontation 2 years ago, exposing Dan's lies, and know another is coming. But this time, it's not just about justice. It's about saving Liam from Dan's fallout. The rain taps the window, a soft warning, and I clutch the singed letter, its edge a reminder of my strength. I'm ready to fight, but the cost looms large, a shadow over our imperfect family. The jazz vinyls crackle in my Portland home, still echoes. A reminder of the night James's letter and Victor's file unveiled Dan's deepest betrayals. Yet in Liam's shy smile and Sophie's tearful embrace, I found a spark of hope that family, though fractured, can mend. Life teaches us that love, like a stubborn seed, can break through even the hardest ground if we nurture it with truth and forgiveness. Dan's lies tested my heart, but they showed me that family bonds are worth fighting for, not with money, but with patience and compassion. In our own lives, when we listen and hold space for healing, we rebuild what seemed lost. If this story stirred your heart, please share your own memories in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've woven love through your family's imperfections. Your story matters, and together we can keep these connections alive.